Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I have another Reddit thread reaction for you guys. You guys seem to like the last video I did on the Reddit threads. So I have been perusing the internet some more and stumbled across some Reddit threads that I just thought were kind of hilarious. So I had to share them with you guys. So without further ado, let's just get into these reactions. Okay, so this Reddit thread I found is called Fat Logic. Fat logic is anything that deviates from the scientific facts of body weight management. This can range from fundamental misunderstandings of how biology and physics work to lengthy political diatribes about how everything is society's fault. Falling victim to fat logic means accepting misinformation that will harm efforts to your body at a healthy weight or lose weight if you need to do so. So I actually came across this thread because I was in another thread where some girl was like, "Oh, fat logic is so fat phobic," and was complaining about it. So I had to come and check it out. Anyhow, let's see. So here are some of the posts. It looks like there are some new ones since I checked it out. So with mass amounts of copium, okay, and it has a picture of, okay, before and after, right? So in the before, she's a little heavier and goes, "Hated my body." On the after, she's thinner and like a nice outfit and says, "Love it." Hot tip. Posting weight loss photos shows us which bodies you value, no matter how body positive your caption sounds. If you don't want us to believe thinner is better, then stop reinforcing that message under the guise of self-love. Oh my God. Okay. So this is such a common one that I have seen. We've all seen it by this point, but yeah, apparently before and after photos are fat phobic because they say, well, you're enforcing the belief that the fat was worse than the thinner. Yeah, yeah, I'm not reinforcing it. I mean, I'm telling you with point blank, right? It is, okay? Definitely for myself. Look, I don't know, everyone might have their own opinions on that, but that's how I feel, okay? There are many reasons why being thinner could be better than being fatter, okay? And a lot of it has to do with health, but not always. I think I see this with women who post like before and after photos of like maybe in the before picture, they were not necessarily fat or super unhealthy. They just weren't as in shape as they wanted to be. And then the after photo, they're leaner, more muscular, just a lot happier, and they're proud of their work. And they get torn apart for that as well. Like they're not supposed to say that they love their body now after they worked on it, after they put in a lot of self discipline and like a lot of hard work and consistency to build the kind of physique that they want. But I guess they're not allowed to have that ambition for themselves. I think that's really what it comes down to. Other people who don't want to put the work in, who you either don't want to have that body, or really, I think that they actually do want that body, but they don't want to admit to you that they want that body or admit to society. Because if they admitted that they wanted that body, then they would only have themselves to blame, right? Because as we know, if you want to look a certain way, sometimes you got to put the work in, right? But yeah, that seems to trigger a lot of people. It's very obvious. It's very obvious why it triggers them, right? It's jealousy. That's what it comes down to. Because as we always say, if they really loved their body at every size and they were so confident with their curves and everything, then it wouldn't bother them if other people posted their before and after photos. It wouldn't bother them if other people were like, "Hey, I like my body thinner now," right? "I like being in shape." Like, it's cool if you want to have curves and be bigger and fluffier, but that's not for me, okay? But it's because these people take personal offense. The other people don't want to look like that. And then they have to go and attack everyone else and say that they're toxic. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, either change or don't, right? That's fine too. No one deserves, you don't deserve to be treated badly for how you look. I mean, I totally agree with that. Like, I don't think that, people should be commenting on your physique in any case scenario. And if you really don't want to lose weight, that's fine. But don't try and tell other people what they can do with their own body, or don't try to tell other people what they should find attractive or not attractive, especially about themselves. Okay, and then Fat Rant Tuesday. Fat logic in real life. Fat logic in real life getting you down? Is your family telling you you're looking too thin? Are people at work bringing you donuts? Did your beer drinking neighbor pat his belly and tell you it's all muscle? If you hear one more thing about starvation mode, will you scream? Let it all out. We understand. Okay. I can relate to that. That's funny. That is funny. Fat children. Okay. I'm scared of being fat. I'm scared of having fat children. What if my children are fat? Genuinely kill yourself. Genuinely kill yourself. Hashtag, I hate the genre of woman we have these days because it's almost always a woman or a mom I see. Is there more to it? Oh, okay. I see. It's just a post from someone. Oh my God. Okay. Oh God. Genuinely kill yourself. How about no? How about no? How about I will not do that? I will continue to eat healthy and work out and not be fat because I've been fat. And it sucks. It really sucks. I was fat the first half of my life as a child. It was awful. It was not healthy. It was really bad, actually. And yeah, I don't want fat children either. You know why? I'm not going to have fat children because I will not let my kids get fat. All right. I think on some level, letting your kids get fat, like that's neglect. Not in the sense that I think that, all parents who have bigger children are terrible people. I get it. Everyone tries their best. They don't, people who don't have the right knowledge or certain tools to really understand what's going on, it's more difficult. But you know what? In this day and age, though, things are a lot different. And we really need to understand and come to reality that being fat is bad. Kids are fatter than ever. People everywhere are fatter than ever. And it's killing us. It's hurting kids too. So yeah, no, I think that this is perfectly reasonable. I'm scared of being fat too. I don't want to be fat. I'm not going to go back to being fat. That sucked. And again, yeah, I would never let my kids be fat because I know better and I want my kids to be healthy. They deserve that. BMI requirements for surgery are inhumane and doctors are disgusting for limiting people's access for healthcare in this way. Like, tell me you're a shitty surgeon without telling me you're a shitty surgeon. If you can't operate on fat people, you suck at your job. Oh my God. Okay. Well, we see this a lot. People get upset with their doctors because their doctor tells them, hey, you're overweight or obese. Like, it is what it is. Maybe you have high blood pressure because, you're 350 pounds. I don't know. Maybe not, but it's probably a pretty good guess. And the poster goes, sometimes I can't understand that there are people who really think like this. Let's see what the comments say. Okay. Surgery isn't healthcare if it kills you. When someone has 100 pounds of excess fat bearing down on the respiratory system, and most of the medications used for sedation are fat soluble, you're basically demanding assisted S word from your medical team at a certain point. Yeah, I mean, I that is the reason why they don't do it on people a certain weight, because it's more about whether your body can handle being sedated and going through the surgery. Like, they do that for people, like this person said, it's not even just overweight people they do it for either. And my mom was a healthy weight, but on a whole cocktail of medications, including a large amount of opiates. So she could not go under general anesthesia. Yeah, and also people who are just older too. Like, everyone's body responds differently, or maybe you have some kind of condition, like a heart condition or whatever, that prevents you from being a good candidate for surgery. So no, it doesn't mean that the surgeon is shitty. It means that you're just more if you want to put yourself at risk for it, if the surgeon tells you like, hey, because you are 100 pounds overweight, these are the risk factors. If you still want to do it, I guess you should be able to do it. I don't know, but like, if something happens to you, that's why. Right? They're just trying to do their job and they're trying to like not kill you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. People. Okay, next one. So I'm guessing the general theme of this like fat logic is things they have seen, other people have seen online or in their own lives and post it on here for us to just kind of make fun of a little bit because it's fun. I have to admit, like, these people are just so, oh my God, so insufferable. Let's see. Losing weight is not natural. It's not healthy. Losing weight is what your body does when it's sick and can't support itself anymore. Diet culture censors any conversation about this, but it's true. All those unpleasant symptoms of weight loss, it's because you're rotting from the inside. You know why people who lose weight stink like that? Why their teeth fall out? Why they lose hair? Why their periods get lighter? It's because they're rotting. Healthy bodies don't do that. Remember that before you pursue intentional weight loss. Okay, so as if people who are severely morbidly obese, do they not also stink? They do, because there's a lot going on in their body. Their teeth may fall out because, yeah, just because you're morbidly obese and eating all the time doesn't mean you're eating the right nutrients. Hair probably falls out too because you're just not healthy, messes up your hormones and everything. Periods, you might have a heavier period. I don't know. I think being obese can also mess up your menstrual cycle. So and because they're rotting, I think you're more likely rotting if you are morbidly obese. Like, there are people on like my 600-pound lives. I'm sure we've all seen this, where they've had like stomachs or areas of their body that are just so big that like it gets infected, and because they can't take care of themselves and they get bed sores. this idea that losing weight is what your body does when it's sick and can't support itself anymore. No, losing weight is what your body does when you have an excess of fat storage. All right. Losing weight is what your body does when you are in a period of time. Originally, why we have fat stores is because we did not evolve to just be eating all the time. Sometimes we had periods of famine or periods where, hey, like we just don't have enough food because the hunt was really bad, the harvest was really bad. So we had to have extra fat stores to keep us going. That's what it is. It's extra energy. Losing weight essentially keeps us alive. All right. The problem is in modern days, we don't have that opportunity anymore to go through a famine. We have in excess, right? Our bodies are just not used to eating like this all the time. And we don't exercise to burn it off. So we have an excess of fat storage that never gets burned off. So that's not how our bodies should work. I don't know. People are so delusional. Okay, let's see. An entire industry has functioned for decades with the sole purpose of making people spend billions to do whatever it takes to avoid ever looking like me. Okay, let's see. There's more. What do you do with that? I giggle while I cry because the gag is I contributed a few thousand to those billions. Every before and after post, every useless Google search that yields the opposite of what I'm looking for. If you know, you know. Because I dared to include the word fat. Every single assumption that I eat everything I see because it must be how she got that way. Every exclusion, every point and giggle, every job loss because I'm big, black, and fat. Every failed diet, no lifestyle change, every fake relationship that required me to be hidden, every broken chair in a public place, every fat phobic, hate filled forum thread, every doctor visit, every time accommodations were lacking or non existent, every time I was overlooked and discounted, every time, all the times this wore me down. And I'm a black woman. There's not enough room here. Facts. The fitness industry is anti-black, anti-fat ableist, etc. I hate it here. Um, there's a lot to unpack here. So the person up, uh-oh. So the person up here says people go to the gym and start diets for personal reasons. It has nothing to do with you, girl. Um, yeah, look, like I said, there's like a lot to unpack here. For sure. Blaming the fitness industry as a whole for being, oh, it's anti-fat, it's anti-black, it's anti-ableist. No, the fitness industry is for people who like to be fit, people who want to get fit, people who want to be healthy and like being healthy. All right. Are there assholes in every industry? For sure. But the majority of people are just living their own life and want to do things for themselves. You are coming at it from your own perception, where, look, I get it. I used to be fat too. I was discriminated against. I heard everything from both adults and kids at a very young age, right? I know what it's like to be made fun of in public. I know what it's like to be treated bad. I know what it's like to, go to a theme park and not be able to sit in a seat. Or, especially as a kid, right? Go to like different stores and them not having like clothing in my size. And yeah, it's embarrassing and it sucks. And I'm not going to sit here and say that people don't treat you differently when you're fat. They do. Okay. Especially at that time. They do. So no, I'm not saying that all this is in her head, but there is some stuff here that, sticks out to me, of course, is they just assume that, I never tried and that I just eat all the time. And that's why I'm fat. Like, I feel like that is it's such a cope for so many people who are obese or overweight, is that they don't want to take responsibility for why they are that way. Okay. They think that there's something special with them where no, it's like I eat just like everyone else and I'm still fat. And, I tried losing weight, but it didn't work for me. So that must mean that, it's just the way I am. When in reality, that's very rarely ever the case. Okay. It just really isn't. The reason why it didn't work for you, because you didn't do it right. I hate to say it, but you didn't do it right. You didn't do it long enough. I'm not saying that, that's your fault necessarily if you were not actually taught how to do it. But that is the reality, is that you didn't go through it long enough. You were misinformed about what you really needed to do, or you just plain out didn't want to do that and thought that somehow the weight would still come off. And that's just not how it works. Like, weight loss works the same for everyone. Okay. You have to eat less calories, burn more calories than you consume to lose weight. And, look, I mean, I think that, people go through all this discrimination and, the bullying, and it does suck. Okay. I feel for them in that sense. But some people turn that into such victimhood where it's like, I can't change my life and this is just how it is. And everyone should accommodate me and everyone needs to dance on their toes to make me feel better about myself. And anyone else who is successful in weight loss or anyone else who is preaching the benefits of weight loss, well, they're fat phobic and they need to stop that because that makes me feel bad. Like, that's just not how it works, right? Accusing people of being racist or ableist just because they want to work out, because, they like being healthy, because they don't look like you. Like, I don't know what to say. And no, like when she's going here, like an entire industry has functioned for decades with the sole purpose of making people spend billions to do whatever it takes to avoid ever looking like me. Like, I hate to say it, but that sounds like there is some resentment there. Like, look, maybe people don't want to look like you. All right. Maybe some people do. Maybe some people don't. I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't want to look like me. Right. Okay. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we can't control how other people feel about ourselves. We can't control how other people perceive us. We can't control whether or not people find us attractive or not. Does that suck? Sure, okay, but it is what it is. Like, I don't think that you should spend your time trying to convince people to find you attractive or trying to convince people to accept you. I think, you gotta just work with what you got. Like, if you don't want to lose weight, that's fine, but then you need to find people who do accept you then. You need to find people who do find you attractive. They are out there, okay? But you know what? You can't expect the rest of society to just go along with your viewpoint. That's just not how it works. We all have our own functioning minds. We all have our own standards, our own goals, our own aesthetics. So I feel bad that, they feel bad, but, either change or accept. That's the only two things you can do about it. This one goes, when skinny people eat nothing but junk food, we accept genetics are far more important than diet. But when overweight people are constantly dieting, people can't accept that for some reason they must be eating in secret or something. And then poster goes, eating junk does not equal caloric surplus, just like dieting does not equal calorie deficit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a common like misconception that a lot of people believe. Where, again, when I talk about naturally skinny on this channel all the time, yeah, you might have that skinny person that is just eating junk food all the time. Whenever you see them, it's just they're, eating French fries and Doritos. But here's the thing that most people don't understand though, is just like, the poster said, just because they're eating junk food doesn't mean they're eating a caloric surplus, right? So yeah, you see them eating junk food every day, but they're still probably not eating as much as you if you're overweight, right? So you can eat pizza and french fries every single day if you're only eating a certain amount. If they're only eating enough calories to sustain their body, then they're not going to gain weight. Doesn't matter where the, the calories come from. And so often, yeah, you'll see that skinny person there, eating gummy worms and then french fries. Sometimes it's all they eat in a day. Okay. Oftentimes, that's all they're eating. Naturally skinny people usually means naturally low appetite, and it's easier for them to stop at one piece of pizza. So they tell you, yeah, I eat pizza every single day. Okay. Well, in our minds, people who are not naturally skinny, we're thinking, oh, wow. They're eating like 3, 4 slices of pizza every single day, probably, followed by some ice cream afterwards. That's our idea of eating pizza every day. All right. Because that's just how we are. That's how we eat pizza. But naturally skinny people, it's like, oh, maybe a few bites, maybe a slice of pizza here. Then maybe, for dinner, they'll have like half a cucumber and then they have their tea at night and that's it. Right. So that's the thing. And then, yeah, people who are overweight and constantly dieting, when you see them, they might be on their, strict diet for at least a few days a week. But what happens often is people get on these diets and think they're doing everything right. But then the weekends come and then they go into full on binge fast, or they eat really well during the day. And then when they go home, they overeat. Okay. Or they are eating healthy, but they're still eating in a caloric surplus, right? Healthy foods have calories too. If you overeat on healthy foods, you will gain weight. So yeah, that's just unfortunately what it is. How do they know skinny people eat nothing but junk? Is it that they saw a thin person buying some snacks at the store and assume that they must live an unhealthy life despite not knowing how frequently they eat those foods? What if that thin person tracks their calories and has budgeted for those junk foods and are still within their calorie allotment for the day and therefore aren't going to gain weight? They're far more concerned about everything that thin people do or don't do. It boggles my mind that they don't devote that same energy to their own well-being. Yeah, I mean, that's, it's interesting because they're kind of turning it around on like other people because, say, well, you see, an overweight person eating junk food and you just assume that's all they eat. Well, you don't know what they're doing. And look, in both cases, it's true. I mean, yeah, That's why it's never cool to shame anyone. Like, leave people alone. If you see an overweight person and they're eating an ice cream cone, yeah, you don't know what they were doing previously. They could have been on a whole month diet and lost 100 pounds, and this is like first time in a month they've had an ice cream. Okay. Um, but I think the same can be said with skinny people though too. So when you see a skinny person and they're, diving into junk food, and then you just think, oh, well, they eat like that all the time and they're still skinny. Well, again, how do you know that? Maybe the reason they're skinny is because just like you, they have been on like a month-long diet, already lost some weight, and now this is the first ice cream they've had in like a couple months, right? So yeah, you can never really know. What you can know for sure though is people's consistent habits. If someone is overweight, it is because they are consistently eating more than they need. If someone is skinny or underweight, it's because they are consistently in a calorie deficit, or they are eating just enough to maintain their current weight. That's what it comes down to. Being a super fat person with diabetes who chooses to embrace their size and not lose weight during the Ozempic is especially harrowing. At every turn, multiple times a day, let's be honest, multiple times per hour at this rate, an ad is telling you to take a GLP-1 agonist drug of some kind. At every appointment, your doctor will push it on you. Family members will ask if you considered it. Thankfully, my friends know better. The ads, though, they're really getting to me. They're incessant and they're everywhere. Every screen, every app, every website or show. If you have ad space, it's being used to sell GLP-1 drugs. If you're diabetic and fat, you're treated like an idiot for having boundaries and exercising bodily autonomy. Like a flock of insistent crows following you around, stalking you everywhere, the caw and squawk. It will fix you. You'll be perfect. You'll be happy. You'll be acceptable. You'll be good. Just try it. It will be good for you. You will love it. Join us. Submit. Stop resisting. Be one of the good, reasonable fat people. Become part of the O's epidemic. These messages are insidious and unavoidable. Once an advertising tracking service figures out you're fat, it gets even worse, and they seem to triple in number. They make the experience of just existing as a fat where are we? Said a daily psychic battle with billion-dollar drug manufacturers who want you to give in and take their magic elixir that they promise will give you vitality and happiness. It really starts to wear on your soul. So for these reasons, I feel I must loudly and with both lungs filled to bursting cry out, absolutely not. F this, F you, and F your drugs. F the fascist body culture that only cares about your ability to produce value for shareholders. F the evil rich who see you as guinea pigs for them to inject experimental weight loss medications into because it adds their disgusting hoard of wealth. F being palatable, F being a good acceptable fat. And most of all, F the goddamn Ozempidemic. I absolutely love this. Why, oh why, if you choose to be fat and it makes you happy, who gives a shit? Embrace the fat. Well done, you. Okay, interesting. I mean, look, yeah, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. It's interesting, but this person, being a super fat person with diabetes who chooses to brace their size and not lose weight, is especially harrowing. Um, you can do whatever you want with your body. I think people in your life and your doctors are really pushing it on you, likely more out of concern, because if you are super fat as you're claiming and you have diabetes, I mean, are you controlling your diabetes in another way? I guess is what I want to know. I mean, have you just accepted that you're going to have to be on some kind of medication forever? I don't know. I don't really understand like the hatred towards Ozempic. Some of the stuff could be true when they're talking about like it's just another way for pharmaceutical companies to get rich and it's experimental, blah, blah, blah. I mean, yeah, in some ways I kind of agree with that. I'm really not on board with just handing out the drug to every single person that wants to lose weight. At least not as like the first method, right? I don't agree with that. I think that that's wrong. I think the first method should be to do it naturally. I think that that should be taught first, okay? Like how to live a healthier lifestyle. But I think for some people it might be more necessary. I think for some people who are really struggling or, have some, bad health issues, I don't know. And I see the ads for it a lot too. I think it doesn't bother me because I don't know, does it trigger me? I wonder, is it triggering you more because you actually are triggered by it? Because something inside of you knows that like you're unhealthy and maybe your life would be better if you lost the weight. We always go back to these people in general who say they're so happy with being fat and fat acceptance is healthy and beautiful and wonderful, but yet they are so upset when other people around them lose weight. Whether those people are telling them to lose weight or not, it's just other people who are losing weight or other people who want to take GLP-1 drugs or other people who are saying that, hey, like, I'm so much better now that I lost weight. They get really angry about that. And it's like, if you really didn't care, then you wouldn't care. So yeah, that's strange to me. I don't know. I don't understand this mentality. I don't understand the mentality. I guess are you fully I mean, are you not fully aware of the risk factors involved with being severely obese with diabetes? I mean, I guess maybe you are and you're okay with it. Like I think like I said, people should be able to do what they want to do. If you are okay with dying early, if you're okay with the consequences that can come with it, then yeah, I mean, just people should just leave you alone, right? If you told them a million times, hey, I don't want GLP-1, I don't want to lose weight, I guess at some point people just gotta, let you be. But yeah, just kind of an odd rant. Okay. I've been trying to deal with this with my almost 16-year-old daughter. Okay. She weighs about 210 pounds, and the doctor tells her that she needs to lose at least 30 because it is starting to affect her health. But I myself have been struggling with my weight for probably close to 20 years, and I actually have been on a health journey for the last 2 years, and I have lost 65 pounds. But in the last couple months, due to holidays and stuff, I've gained back 8. I honestly don't know how to help her without creating a bad relationship with food because I have an awful relationship with food. So, do you have any pointers? Oh boy. A health at every size dietitian and finding activity that makes her feel good is a good start. I was like her, and my mom took me to Weight Watchers, and we did all the diet culture stuff. And I ended up with a very disordered approach to both diet and exercise in my 20s that destroyed my health. Approaching food and exercise with gentle and curious inquiry can be helpful. What do I like? How does this feel? Maybe she loves team sports or individual activities. Try it all. Our bodies are amazing. Wow. Okay. And the poster goes, I pray that this nice words only doesn't actually succeed in misleading a mother and her teenage daughter like this. Ignore your stupid doctor. Take her to a health at every size dietitian instead. Is crazy, audacious, and dangerous advice, especially from a stranger over the internet. Yeah, I mean, look, as someone who was obese my entire childhood and into my teens, I wish that I had had someone to intervene and earlier and to tell me what to do and how to fix my already bad relationship with food. So that's the thing that, a lot of these people in the fat acceptance, they're all about, oh, diet culture teaches you a bad relationship with food because it tells you that cookies are bad for you and french fries are bad for you. Spoiler alert, they are. They're not great for you. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't eat them sometimes if you want to, but no, they're not good for you. But number two, they totally just, gloss over the fact that, well, if you have an obese teenager, obese kid, then they already have a bad relationship with food. They're eating too much. They're eating way too much, okay? Eating too much of the wrong stuff. So I would start there. Clearly, this is a family issue because the mom is also overweight. That's how it happens, right? Obesity is not genetic in that, oh, it's just the genes. Everyone just looks at french fries and they gain weight. No, it's habits. It's habits instilled in you from your family. You eat the same things they eat. If they don't know how to control their hunger levels, then you won't either, right? We talk about naturally skinny people who naturally do, have lower appetites and are less addictive to certain foods. But people like us who are not naturally skinny, we have to work harder at it because when we eat certain things, we just want to keep eating. We don't have that off switch. And you can keep this habit alive in your own family. And that's exactly what this is. So that's what really gets me is like, oh, Weight Watchers, it did still bad relationship with food. I've never been on Weight Watchers. I know a friend that did it and it helped her lose weight when she was also a teenager and she's kept the weight off and she's very healthy. She does CrossFit now. I know a lot of people who have done like Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and things like that. And it's been very helpful for them. And it teaches you a bad relationship with food. No, it teaches you that there are certain foods that are not good for you, that they're just not good for you. Okay. They're not good for your goals. For example, for myself, I tell you guys this all the time. I mean, I have to eat a mostly whole food diet because those are the foods that I can eat and feel satisfied and not experience the food noise. Because I, a naturally obese person over here, when I eat certain things, like I don't want to stop eating them because they're addictive. They're engineered to be addictive. On top of that, they're just actually not good. They make you obese. They give you diabetes. They give you high blood pressure, high cholesterol. They're just not good for you. Okay. This is just common sense. So if you're telling me that the bad relationship with food is teaching the teenage girl what she should and shouldn't be eating, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, yeah, are there some cases where some people take it too far and actually do develop an ED? Sure, but that's not the norm. Okay, like the biggest ED problem we have in the country is not eating too little; it's eating too much. Here's this one. Yesterday, I was reflecting on the fact that Epstein and Trump were using child modeling agencies to gain access to young children to exploit. One consistent thing throughout all of the evidence in the files: nobody they exploited is fat. They were repulsed by it. Being fat protects yourself. Being fat helps you survive. Fatness is something to be praised, respected, and honored. It is the most beautiful thing. It is essential to root out patriarchy. Fat female leaders are the future. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. I was just saying to myself, I need to get in shape for the revolution. Wait, round is a shape. I can't run, but they can't stag me either. I can still use a lacrosse stick to fling cocktails when the time comes. And the response is, we can use our masks to knock them to the ground and sit on their chest till they stop moving. Too dark? Maybe a little too dark. If it comes down to it, not too dark. I think there is a severe underestimation of how much bottled up feminine rage there is collectively. And when that rage reaches boiling point, the world will shake. So there's a couple things. First thing, I found this one really, really interesting because this is not the first post that I've seen from some of these like fat acceptance people about the Epstein and Trump thing. The Epstein files, I did a video about this. They're so horrific. I mean, I went down a rabbit hole of watching and listening to different things, reading some of the files myself. It is so dark and just so unbelievably horrific, the things that these victims went through. But of course, some of these people on the internet use it as a way to somehow insert themselves into the equation. I've seen this, where they talk about, because right, some of the people in the Epstein files were part like Lex Warner, what's his name, Lex Lex. I can't think of his name right now. Whatever, the guy who owned Victoria's Secret, right? And Epstein also had a modeling agency. Yeah, they were doing disgusting things, but their whole thing is like, oh well, see, it just proves that our beauty standards were set by these awful men, and that's why everyone should be fat, right? That's the basic gist of what they're saying, and it's like any excuse to bring it back to themselves, right? And so when I saw this post, that's exactly what it is. They're literally totally completely ignoring all the trauma, the horrible thing that these victims went through, and somehow brought it back to themselves. They're the victims. Nobody they exploited was fat. Like, they almost sound like they're offended by that. You know what I mean? That's like the kind of vibe I get from this, is that they were actually offended that none of the victims were fat. It's like, are you effing kidding me, right? And then somehow using this as like an excuse to tell other girls like, oh, you should be fat because no one will want you then you won't be a victim, which is also just really offensive and awful, because as we know, anyone can be a victim. SA is not reserved just for people who are conventionally attractive or people who are thinner. Anyone can be a victim. It's just horrific abuse. And then on top of that, saying that being fat protects you, like, I just, where are these people coming from? I don't know. It is so horribly offensive, and they can't even see it. That's the thing. They can't even see it. And then when they're talking about like, oh, well, I don't need to get in shape for the revolution. I'll just sit on them. I mean, let's just be real here. Okay. Okay. I have said this before. Like, if you really want to fight the patriarchy, you're not going to fight it if you're like fat and sick. Okay. I'm sorry, but like, I feel more empowered. I'm stronger, fitter, leaner, more confident, stick up for myself more, that I have lost the weight. I wouldn't be the same person if I hadn't lost the weight, because when you are overweight or obese, you're not fighting anybody. All right. You're just not. Okay. Like, if there really was a revolution, you're going to be the first people to go. Like, this idea you're going to sit on people, like, I get maybe you're joking, whatever, but like in reality though, if there really was some kind of natural disaster, not even just a revolution, or if you had to run for your life, if you had to fight for your life, no, your fatness is not going to save you. It's actually going to be more of a hindrance. Okay. There are real consequences to being fat, to being overweight or obese. Again, if you don't care about that, like, that's fine. No one should be an asshole to you, but let's just not pretend that it isn't what it is. Like, you are not in a better position. Encouraging other people to be fat or stay fat is just not healthy advice. It's just not doing anyone any good. And the person who posted it goes, the news about this case is so grim, but for the OP to have this response, I feel so gross reading it. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt too. It's just like, come on, way to like put it back to yourself. Like, it has nothing to do with you. Like, let's talk about the victims who actually went through the horrific abuse. This person goes, why the flying F? Are they upset about the appearance of S8 kids? That's the wrong freaking thing to be outraged about. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the vibe it gave. Like, they were upset or offended that like fat people or fat girls, fat children were not essayed. Like it's just so icky and gross. So unbelievable. Okay, guys. Well, that's it for me today. That's enough, I think, Reddit sleuthing. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about some of these takes. I know that the internet is a crazy place, and I hope that this is not the majority of how people think. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird people out there. Um, some of this stuff is just like I just think that it is harming more people and having the exact opposite effect that they think it is. But everyone's going to have their own opinions. Everyone's going to keep doing what they want to do. All we can do is keep living our lives the best way we know how to do it. And hopefully one day these people will come to and will make changes to change their life and will be happier for it. It has happened. There have been plenty of people recently that are coming out of the fat acceptance movement because they are finally realizing it was toxic to begin with, literally a toxic cult. Anyway, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to check out my book, 1 Year, 100 Pounds, which is the story of how I lost 100 pounds on my own at 14. And it's also a tough love guide for how you can do it too. I also have my 1 Year New You guided weight loss journals, which are formatted after the exact same journaling method I used to lose 100 pounds and still use today. If you want to check those out, they are on my website, wholcomb.com. They are both available in paperback, spiral, and PDF versions. I will leave the links in the description below. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you next time.